When I was a student, I loved taking practice tests with immediate feedback in the comfort of my home and without the added pressure from the teacher or time limits. This opportunity allowed me learning where I have gaps in my knowledge, how fast I can apply my newly acquired knowledge, and overall assess how well I understand the material. The topic of practice tests has been researched much and shows that what I have learned in practice is actually based on the research findings. There are different types of questions that you can use for such practice tests, like pick one and pick multiple choice questions, true and false, open-ended, and others. Use a mini tutorial on the assessment page of your e-module to learn more about the options. With the free digital tools available on the web, you have an easy way of creating such learning opportunities for your students. One of such apps for creating assessments is Hot Potatoes, that allows you creating a range of multiple choice questions, open-ended questions, matching, and crosswords. To install the software, you need to go to this website, hotpot.uvic.ca, and install the software. After the installation is complete and you click on the icon to open the software, that is the welcome window that you will have access to, where you can select the question type that you would prefer. Let's create a quiz. For example, we are going to create a quiz for select the answers that you want to have available. Let's say 8, 9, 10, 11. Well, let's provide the feedback. This is not correct. But 9 is correct. Don't forget to click on the setting check mark for the correct answer. Then you can either save the file or just go ahead and export it. So you can export it in multiple ways. You can create a zip package, you can create SCORM package, export for printing, but for the ease of use, we are going to export it into the standard web page. Why? It's because you can then just send a link to your students or post it on your blog or website, and everybody will be able to access it. You will see that it exports as .html file. I want to view the exercise bit. And here we see that we have our question and we have answers. Let's say I use this and comes up with a feedback. Let's say you want to do a matching. The idea is the same. Math quiz. Here we'll have 4 plus 5, 9 plus 2. Next step is to add the correct answers. You put them certainly in the correct order, however, after you are done and export your file, the answers will be jumbled. Or in other words, it will be rotated just a little bit so that to create that quiz portion. So let's say it will be 9, 19 again. After we are done, we can save it again. If you don't feel like saving, you don't have to. But let's export it again. So here we just select the right one. Let's say we use the wrong one here. When answering this page, I have purposely sabotaged the answers just to show the feedback. As you can see, one of the answers that I've provided was incorrect, and the feedback was 80% because it takes the aggregated and the average score. Next, let's try to create a crossword quiz. However, for these purposes, because it requires more preparation, I will show the ones that I have already created. It was a biology crossword. So all I had to do is find the words that I want to use for my crossword, and actually have to type them in the crossword pattern, because that is how we're going to arrange them in the horizontal and vertical layers. As I mentioned, the crossword has already been created, so I just insert a couple more words just to show how to use the keys. As you can see, it's pretty easy. But to add the clues, we need step after adding the clues is actually scrolling down to find the word that requires a clue. In this case, because I have already entered a lot of them, let's scroll down all the way to flower and type in the definition for it. For example, a stem with petals. I know it's not really a biological way of explaining it, but it will work for this tutorial. Next, click OK next to the clue, and if you are done with clues, just click OK at the bottom of the window. Again, export as a web page, and that is how it's going to look like in your web browser. So for example, I click here on this one, it comes up with two questions: the colorful part of the flower as well as the stem of the flower to go down. So here it will be petal, and enter. It worked. And the answer to the bottom one will be a peduncle. Let's type it in. Because I have not answered quite a few questions and also sabotaged answering some of them, the ones that I've answered, my quiz score was only above 20%, which is certainly pretty bad considering that I've created the test. But as I said, I've been trying to sabotage. So as you can see again, Hot Potatoes is a really easy tool to use to create your assessment, practice assessment, and I'm sure your students will love using the 27. And there was a mistake entered here, so as you can see, it comes up and says which letters were correct and what needs to be modified later on. And as I said, Hot Potatoes is a really great way of creating the quizzes or assessments for your students.